Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is Jack. I am Connor. This is the 45 Euro 2021. Round of 16 is now complete. We've got our quarterfinal set. Let's see how we did. Boy, this went badly, quickly for Wales. Gareth Bale, not Christian Bale, not very good. Perhaps his last game in a Wales shirt, hard to tell. Denmark, straight up dominant. The brace from Dolberg, sloppiness from Wales. Williams giveaways. He came on for an injured Connor Roberts. The red against Harry Wilson just added to the mess for Wales. Braithwaite gets the fourth in stoppage time. Denmark, as a result, gets the Czech Republic in the quarters. Just Wales were not good.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 was tough. I felt really good about my 2-0 until about the 88th, and Wales just kind of said,
2-1.
Gotta stop conceding. I mean, 2 goals. None conceded. I would have been like 90% right there, but no, I mean, I think Denmark, they feel pretty good about where they're at right now. I mean, facing the Czech Republic, that's a good quarterfinal.
It's as good a draw as you could possibly want.
Very, very good quarterfinal matchup.
Not easy, but
no one's easy at this point. But I think you're very happy with how you're looking right now, and they are looking at. I mean, you know how England's looking at them as a tasty treat potentially in the semifinals. They could look at England as a potential treat in the semifinals. So Denmark, I mean, the romanticists and everyone wants to see them go far.
I mean, we thought they were a dark horse early on, very beginning. Not like this, though. Not 4-0 over Wales in the round of 16.
Without Christian Eriksen because of cardiac arrest. It's been a remarkable story. And it's been just incredible to see how improved they've been since –
They looked like they were zombies as they resumed that match, the first match.
They looked like they were not there emotionally. They were not ready to play their best football, and who can blame them? And they are now ready to play their best football, and they did it against Wales.
All right, Italy, Austria. Italy not as dominant as we expected. All the scoring, 3 goals in stoppage time, or extra time, excuse me. Italy saved ultimately by video assistant referee. Arnautovic goal ruled out. The penalty for Liner not happening. So they could have been down 2-0 in the second half. Alaba playing at left back. Change in Austria's approach. Much more open, much more attacking. But Italy's depth really paid off. Chiesa coming on late, make a difference. Yeah. Ugly but effective for Italy.
Yeah. I mean, Chiesa's been one of the better players this tournament. Or I guess I should say last season for Juventus. Didn't get a lot of praise for how good he was. Getting it now because he came on and was a real big player for Italy. It wasn't pretty, but it doesn't have to be. You just advance.
Get the result.
I think you would have wanted it to be a bit cleaner, a bit more polished, but they looked a bit nervous. They looked like they almost fell off. But now, I mean, you look elsewhere. I mean, you see France, you see Germany, you see Portugal got sent home. You didn't get sent home.
You're still dancing.
You're fine. You have a really tough quarterfinal matchup in Belgium.
Unbelievable.
But
one reason to hate these predetermined draws versus ranked draws.
I think that they'll feel good about considering Belgium didn't look great against Portugal. No De Bruyne. Is he confirmed out?
I've seen conflicting things. Yeah. We'll cover that in the preview side of this.
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I think Italy, you did the bare minimum, which was get through.
Just get the result, move on.
Exactly.
Speaking of moving on, Netherlands will be moving on. Bye-bye De Ligt, bye-bye De Boer. De Ligt picks up the red in the 52nd minute. Holden and Schick then go on to score in the 68th and 80th. Netherlands never really looked like they were going to do much here. Slight edge in position, but zero shots on target for Netherlands.
I mean, this was just a master class in how not to play a football match. Frank de Boer, I mean, Jose Mourinho called him the worst manager in Premier League history for a reason.
We didn't like his tactics and his setups coming into this.
I mean, you couldn't.
But we had him going pretty far.
They were playing the Czech Republic, who they won deservedly. Let me preface it with that. But you're Netherlands. You have so much talent. You should not be at a point where 11 versus 11, you are struggling against them. And even when De Ligt was sent off, it wasn't like, oh crap, now the momentum's going to shift. Czech Republic were just like, yeah, we were the better team, and now we have an extra player. Let's just put it in the net. And they did it a few minutes after, and they deservedly go through. And again, same thing with Denmark. They're thinking, look at the other side of that bracket. We could have been split up with Belgium, Italy, and each of us had to face a top 5 team in the world. But we don't have to.
Pretty happy.
And they're very happy with their next draw. So I think wasted potential for Netherlands. Gini Wijnaldum, a player I really, really like, just a ghost. I mean, that's the issue, is he just sometimes just disappears. The captain for them had 10 passes in the entire 96 minutes, and he was dispossessed 7 times.
You think about Xhaka had like 80 passes or something like that in the Switzerland-France match, which we'll talk about here in a second. But 10. I
mean, he is a great player when he shows up, but he did not show up. And
Stinker.
I think having Van Dijk be at home was a bigger loss than people, I think, thought about, because Van Dijk is a huge player for this Netherlands team, and without him, I mean, they were just. I mean, De Ligt was an inexperienced mistake. It was just a dumb mistake, and I think next to Van Dijk.
I mean, he said it. He felt terrible.
Next to Van Dijk, does that not happen? I mean, I don't think Van Dijk can prevent his player from swatting the ball back with his hand.
He says, I shouldn't have let the ball drop.
Yeah, but
or bounce.
Yeah, I think a lot of problems for Netherlands. New manager, you still have a lot of young talent, and the World Cup is next year, so you're not.
I think they'll be in good shape.
Depay, Wijnaldum, Van Dijk are still going to be primes for the World Cup. Having Van Dijk back is going to make him a really interesting side for the World Cup.
I mean, it just exposes how weak the group they were in.
Yes.
Denmark was.
Yes.
Or, excuse me, Netherlands was.
Yes. That's
coming out of that. But anyhow, Belgium, Portugal, not quite the barn burner we thought it was going to be. No 3-2 that I was looking at. The 1-0 courtesy of Thorgan Hazard's missile into the back of the net in the closing minutes of the first half. The only shot on target for Belgium the entire time. Second half, De Bruyne, Eden Hazard go off with injuries. There are doubts for Italy. Don't really know just yet. Belgium fortunate to hold on for the win as Portugal had a number of chances in the second half, especially in that last 10 minutes. They were really pressing. Yeah, Belgium get Italy, as we talked about.
The more that I've kind of seen this tournament progress, you've seen more people talk about it, people who are experts in these sides who have watched them play for years now. And the amount of teams that just hate their coaches. I mean, Netherlands hated Frank de Boer. Portugal fans, I think they disliked Santos. I think they think they want someone fresher with the amount of talent they have. Belgium don't like Roberto Martinez because he's Roberto Martinez and because he's kind of wasting this Belgium golden generation. It was a boring match in Belgium. They were a boring side to watch in this game, but who cares? Who genuinely cares if they were
1-0.
1-0 and you got through. Now, against Italy, they cannot replicate that performance and expect to win.
I'm worried for Belgium, especially if De Bruyne and Hazard are out.
The big thing we have to know for ourselves before we make a prediction for this match is who's fit, who's not fit. And so I'm really unsure of where I'm at with this Belgium side. But, again, same thing with Italy.
Ugly but effective.
Ugly but effective. And Portugal didn't really create that much. And at the end of the day, Portugal have a lot of talent, but the reason why I said I did not have them I didn't have them winning this match was it was like 11 players individually, not a cohesive team. That's down to Santos. It's down to, I think it's slightly down to Ronaldo being Ronaldo. Not that he's a bad player, but it's the individualism and the individual greatness of Ronaldo.
Wasn't enough. Yeah.
Wasn't enough, and it kind of had a mentality in the entire squad. I think he's the biggest leader.
They were just waiting for him to do something.
They were, and you know what?
But, I mean, Jota had some misses. Yeah. They had some clear misses. Not him.
End of the day, same thing Messi, Ronaldo, all of their teammates kind of
stand around ball watch
default to him and hey, can you do something magical for me? There was not a lot of personal responsibility, not on Ronaldo entirely. He was at fault. He didn't score. But just a disappointing showing to only make the round of 16 with such a talented side.
Next up, the bonkers day. We had 14 goals on the Monday matches. I said something like, I can see this going to extra time.
Yes.
I saw it as 0-0, extra time, not 3-3. The own goal resulting from the Pedri back pass was something astonishing I've never seen before. Like, just awful. Hard to believe. Spain would end up going up 3-1, only to see Croatia stage a remarkable comeback. Both goals post 85th minute. Stoppage time. Equalizer to force extra time. Well, Morata gets the game winner. Oyarzabal, the insurance goal, just bonkers. They get Switzerland in the quarters, which we will talk about here in a minute.
Yeah, I think that this was we both had one goal in the match, and there was 8. So that speaks to how we expected this and how it turned out.
Just ran out of gas.
I think Spain, again, they can tear some sides open, but they can be leaky at the back. They are prone to the occasional error. Unai Simon is not the most secure goalkeeper for them, especially with the back pass that he just could not handle from Pedri. I mean, look, some people were like, "Hey, Pedri, the golden rule is you don't pass to your goalkeeper on a bounce pass. I'm sorry.
It was rolling to him by the time
he's
got
5
there.
yards inside his own, like a center circle. And he
just whiffed.
He has about like several seconds to kind of process this, and there's no one in his range. He could have laid down on his side and just blocked it with his body and had several seconds to get up, collect himself, and then pass it. He did not have to try and like move to the side and let it just slide past him the only way it could to go in the goal. Regardless
Crazy,
of that,
great match.
I think it was a tremendous match. Yeah, Spain can open sides up, but I do worry about them defensively. Switzerland, we'll look at them and say, we put 3 past France. We also conceded 3 to France. So maybe another barn burner there.
This was not the barn burner we expected.
Yeah, no.
1-0 either way. You got that one correct. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
More bonkers in France, Switzerland. France, not good enough. Switzerland, very good. Mbappe picked a bad day to have a bad day. Walking up for that penalty, I think not just us, a lot of people saw the complete lack of confidence. Not going to happen, I think, is the words that we said. He didn't look very good. Sommer comes up with the save. He had the assist on Benzema's first of the 2 quick goals after the Lloris penalty save. Squandered a lot. Pogba, the bright spot for France. He is so good, but not enough. Good with Conte. Completely different player than what we see playing for United in the Premier League. Still really, really weird to see Granit Xhaka wear the number 10, but he is so critical for that team as the captain. Such good passing. He's like 93% passing accuracy or something like that. But he also picked up a yellow, which means he's out for the match against Spain. That's Granit Xhaka.
Look,
magnificent in one moment and maddening in the next.
No, get rid of yellow card accumulation. I'm sorry, it's a stupid rule.
It's there for players like Granit Xhaka.
I get you want to kick like tactical fouls out of the game, and this is a way to limit it. I just hate it. I just hate it.
I mean, it kills Switzerland in the next match. Yeah, he's so critical.
Switzerland really are going to struggle without him because he's such a talismanic player for them. Talking about Mbappe, we had kind of recognized that, he's had a terrible performance. Like, he had several notable moments in the match where he should have scored to not have them in this spot where it's 3-3. And so to kind of see him walking up for that 5th penalty, I was just kind of like, that's almost on Deschamps to be like, read the room, bro. He is not prepared to score the winning penalty. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he was capable of making a penalty. Put him like, I always say, put your best taker third, because third is like the apex of the shootout. You're either going to start losing or start winning, or it's still a tie, obviously. It's every possibility there. But having your best shooter there gives you the best possibilities. So I would have preferred him third, but it's a very small change that might not have done anything on the grand scheme of things. But I do want to shout out a comment, actually. Matthew Whaley commented on our preview video, and he said he could see a shock win for Switzerland and Portugal. So he was half right, but I consider him full right because Switzerland as a miraculous win was a stunning call. So well done, Matthew. That was a very, very good call there. I did not see it. I had France putting 4 past.
Yeah, neither one of us had this close.
I think what we've seen with this tournament is it's not been individual talent. It's just been effective team movements that have really kind of
France did not play well together at all.
France, I mean, they have so much more talent than everyone else in the world. But, and we'll talk about England like right now, but England almost looked better than France at a lot of times because they weren't as open in a lot of moments. But anyways, France just huge letdown.
France done.
I think
they were our title winners.
World Cup 2022, back for vengeance.
Favorites for sure. England, Germany, 43,000 at Wembley made themselves heard. Some with more dignity than others. Yes. Booing the German national anthem, booing the kneeling against racial injustice in football and everywhere. Classless and embarrassing. Yeah. Southgate, once again, going defensive with his selection, but the goal of his seemed to be bringing on speed and creativity at the end. Maybe when Germany's a little bit run down, they're not as deep as this England team are. Job done. Grealish comes on, dodged a few bullets. Muller, the clear miss. And then he got yanked shortly after. He and Jurgen Löw do not like one another. He was out of the side for a while, but Saka was good, but Grealish surely has to start. Yeah. I think he is the most important player for the England side because he just makes stuff happen.
Yeah. I think England, this is the perfect result for you. I mean,
they still haven't conceded a goal.
Yeah, they have been remarkably defensively stout. Pickford has been tremendous. We've been one of his biggest critics in the last few years, but when he has a very competent defense in front of him, they look really, really good. My biggest takeaways was Maguire is an excellent, excellent center back. When he's not forced to play super high. I mean, he's not even bad. He's not even bad for United. He's not bad for United. He's one of the best center backs in the world for United, and I think he's finally starting to get a bit of respect that he deserves. Because
gotta get a better haircut though.
Yeah, his hair sucks. Like, it's just bad, dude. Like,
get a better haircut.
He does not. That is not the haircut that inspires. I am the captain of Manchester United Football Club, and I'm one of the best defenders in the world. Anyway.
But he did. There were a couple of moments where he was running for his life back towards his own goal, which is not what you want to see from Harry Maguire.
It's not what you want to see from any center back, but especially Harry Maguire.
Especially not him.
I think that he is a very valuable passer, progressor of the ball, very valuable positional sense. The one thing I do worry about is Rice and Calvin Phillips in the midfield. I think Henderson, I'm hoping for England's sake that he's finally back fit, because I think he's going to be a big switch in the midfield from Rice or Calvin Phillips. I don't know which one you drop for Henderson. I think that could be a big change. But against Ukraine, I think Grealish has to start. I think it was near on perfect from Southgate in this match to kind of almost deadlock it, just have a really nice compact side, and then when they're a bit tired, their legs are not as ready to deal with a guy like Jack Grealish, bring him off the bench. I thought that it was a risky call, but it worked out. So he's a genius until it doesn't work out, and it worked out perfectly. Yeah. Against Ukraine, Grealish has to start.
I think you do not all out from
you do not let Ukraine stick around.
No.
You got to have two in the first half, in my eyes, or else questions arise. In Ukraine, I mean, we saw how many other players got injured against Sweden, and they struggled with depth. They only made 2 subs in the first 90 minutes, leading into extra time. So they do not have the depth.
And they're not a young club. They're not a young side.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So I think you just hit him in the jaw off the opening, and then you bring on a Sancho, you bring on a Saka, you bring on a Rashford off the bench, and really
Mason Mount. None of these guys got any playing time.
Yeah, really try and stretch them. There is no reason why you should not be in the semifinals, and you could argue even the final. This is as one of England's best chances to win a title in recent years.
Since '66.
And you know what? Southgate, I said he was a bad choice. I said he was a bad choice as recently as before this match today. But he has a chance to really kind of just erase all doubt, and maybe it does. Does it come home if they win the Euros, or do they have to win the World Cup?
Beat Germany for the first time in 50 years, since '66.
But do they have to win the World Cup for it to be it's coming home?
I would think so.
Or just
I mean, you start with Euro, but they're all saying it's coming home.
Win everything. Just win everything.
Zinchenko rocket, Forsberg deflected equalizer, extra time. Somehow Danielson is shocked that he gets a red on that. That was a horrible challenge. That dude's knee it bent in the direction it is not supposed to bend. Like, it was awful. Man down, Sweden just unable or unwilling to control the ball and put anything kind of forward. Granted, you're a man down, but that winning goal felt inevitable. Zinchenko once again. The perfect cross for the winner in the 122nd minute, 123rd minute. I think it was the latest winner in Euro history. Yeah. They face England, as we say. Moving on.
It was a very, very late goal.
They were exhausted. These two clubs.
I mean,
just beat.
This was two sides with not a ton of depth, just pushed to the limit in terms of injuries, in terms of fatigue. So I am a bit worried about the long-standing impacts of the fact that we had such a short off season ahead of this most recent season. You crammed all those games in, then you crammed this tournament right away, and now a shortened preseason. I'm just worried if there's just going to be this snowball effect that leads up to the World Cup next year, which happens between November and December, which is going to force that season to be pushed ahead.
So bad.
Look,
you got to go with 5 subs, I think. This feels like 6 subs in these extra time matches. Feels like forever. It's like a ton of subs. It's like over half your outfield.
But it feels very, very disproportionately unfair, because you look at sides like Ukraine. They don't have
5 guys.
They don't have even 4 guys in a normal match where going into extra time you could bring on total. They don't have 4 guys that you could bring on versus England. I mean, their bench was arguably better than their starting 11 in its most recent match. And that was a side that could beat Germany that started. So
we didn't even really talk about Germany.
I hate 5 subs. Yeah,
I think you have to from an injury perspective right now.
I think you have to drop matches. You have to figure out ways to space matches out. You're not going to change things except for make it
a month-long tournament,
disproportionately more unfair for bigger sides and better sides. The more subs you allow.
I think you've got,
fundamentally it's unfair.
but those the clubs that are behind those big players that are playing for these uber talented sides, like the Germanys, the Frances, less so Germany this year, France, Italy, they want the 5 subs because they don't want their players at risk. You know, and like Ukraine, a lot of those guys are playing in the Ukrainian Premier League, right? They don't want those guys getting hurt. I think, is the quality of depth different? Yes, but I think from just a pure player welfare perspective, you have to have those 5 subs, especially with the World Cup in the middle of the season next year.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Ukraine's job is to win the match, and they can't win the match if they bring on their subs because they don't have the talent back there. So if what you are doing is you're opening up the issue of, fitness is great, but one side will be fitter than the other side's, even more fit than the other sides because they can bring on more of their world-class depth. Ukraine.
But, you're going to tell me that Sweden or Ukraine and England have the same training situation? No, England's is arguably better. France versus Portugal, France, like those are equivalently maintained sides, right? Yes, there's quality of depth that's different, but not all these countries are the same. North Macedonia not playing on the same level as anybody else from an infrastructure perspective.
Yes, but at the end of the day, I just think it's really, really tough for me to see how. I mean, football is at a really weird spot where this is a much bigger discussion than Sweden, Ukraine.
Ukraine win.
Yeah, Ukraine winning, which we've not touched on a ton, obviously. But like you had the Super League, you've had all this pushing to just have more and more matches, more
money,
income off of these matches, and at the end of the day, these players, money does not change biology, and
they're playing 100 matches.
Yeah, I mean Bruno Fernandes. I think United fans are happy they got eliminated because he is a shell of himself this tournament.
Yeah.
Not only did the side not fit him, but he did not look good because he had played like 80 matches in the
Same thing for Harry Kane. He looked
Kane looks terrible. I mean, he had a goal, but he looks terrible. And Ukraine, same issue for them. Sweden, same issue for them, where they've got now Ukraine versus England is going to be interesting because Ukraine are going to be really tired, and England, I think, are going to have a lot more freshness.
Fresher. They'll be able to, I get feel to completely change side.
The last thing I'll say is that it could be interesting that it's going to be in Rome, not in England, because Wembley for the semifinals and the final is going to be a big atmosphere if England can be there, because it's going to be, I think, 75% capacity, 60,000 fans,
43,000
for the semifinal, and even more probably for the final. So it could be coming home very plausibly because only 8 left.
8 left. We will do a preview of the quarterfinals here coming up, but that'll do it for our look back at the round of 16. I got half of them right. I think four.
I got 5.
4 of 8.
Got 4. Yeah.
France
is the big one. I mean, why? No one except for Matthew in the comments in their right mind is putting money. I mean, that you don't want to lose on Switzerland.
Jack, Conrad, this has been the 45. Please let us know what you think in the comments. Do subscribe. It's free and it's fun. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.